Man, what's going on, my people? We back with another video, and man, my boy. Let's go. Let's go. Long fight. Long, tough one, too, boy. But, my boy Free, let's get into it.
I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges.
Right.
I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, My managers, my kids that's not here.
It took 906 days for Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, to come to an agreement with the state. Now, my goal here for this video is trying my best to break down this 2.5-year trial. Check out some key moments, see the terms Young Thug had agreed to, check out a witness who turned into a star, and even a rapper who became enemies with other rappers in the process.
Right.
But now, the honcho himself finally breaks his silence. So the fact that we got a lot to talk about, let's not waste too much time on this intro. Before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no aim, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. May 9th, 2022, a day Young Thug will remember for the rest of his life.
And think of this, too, though. It just show how big Young Thug was, bro. Yo was in jail for at least 2 years. And, like, his name was still alive, man. Well, not alive, but like still moving. Boy, like he was gone for 2 years, man. You be gone for 2 years. A lot of people didn't forget about you, but all the freak stuff, and then keep you updated on his court things, man. It just kept him going and everything. Everybody was just waiting on him to be freed, man.
And on November 1st, 2024, Young Thug will wake up the first day outside those cages. After years of fighting for his freedom and millions lost and even spent on attorney fees, Young Thug walk away a free man. Or did he? In a case where Young Thug was one of 28 defendants indicted in 2022, by the time jury selection was made in 2023, that number was cut into half until 14 defendants. As the Atlanta native was arrested in front of his home, he would soon realize he would be indicted on RICO charges, even having a murder as a count, and the demise of Donovan Thomas, aka Big Nut. Now, one of the 28 defendants, some would say, started a friction in the rap game, having various artists diss him as he walks out after agreeing to a plea agreement. Sergio Kitchen, aka Gunna. That plea was signed December 15, 2022. He was released just 7 months after incarceration. But this broke Young Thug according to his sister, especially knowing that the state played dirty games allowing Gunna plea agreement to be recorded in the news.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
Artists like Future, Lil Baby, and even Lil Durk, who's now incarcerated, made songs aiming at Gunna.
Swear to God, fuck your album, shit ain't slapping like my mixtape.
They stepped on what you call it, how the fuck y'all let that happen? Why some niggas take a plea and shot, I know slime ain't happy.
But it was confusing, because the most important person that can clear the air was still incarcerated fighting for his life. Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. On November 27, 2023, after months of jury selection, the Young Thug and YSL trial will start. And 2 red flags in this trial that point out it's not 1 but 2 ex parte meetings. And for those who don't know, the definition of an ex parte is done with respect to or in the interest of one side only. And in this case, that's a huge no-no when you're talking about a trial. At one point in time, Young Thug attorney was almost incarcerated by Judge Glanfield. Because of the ex parte meeting and him standing up for his client, Brian still had one request: to be housed in the same cell as his client, Young Thug. He earned a lot of respect, but because of the reputation attorney Brian still had, attorneys lined up outside the courtroom, and eventually that decision was overturned.
Yes, sir, you certainly may. Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I asked for a mistrial. And I assume you deny, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people. I denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
One of those ex parte meetings involved what some would say a young man who became a star while testifying on Young Thug, Lil Woody.
Y'all need to give me a break because my blood pressure is real high. I keep telling y'all, leave me alone.
You wouldn't get in trouble. They just leave the gun.
Yeah, but I don't have food, go for it.
Did you ever give Gaither the gun?
No.
Why not?
Is you crazy? First of all, I was breaking in the stove, so I'm always get me some money. That's what I'm gonna do. So it's wrong, and y'all are wrong because y'all know that I'm full of shit. And y'all keep trying to drag me in here to bring up bullshit that y'all know I don't say it. Why is y'all doing that? Leave me alone. If y'all gonna charge me for what I did, I don't did the time for the crimes y'all caught me for.
That you were getting a lot of threats on your social media page.
I think I was turning people back.
Versus telling them the truth.
You trying to trick me?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm not gonna confess.
Confess to what?
Nothing.
Now, the once alleged YSL member Lil Woody has since been remorseful for the things he done to Young Thug, despite having fame and gaining personal gains from telling on him.
In that courtroom and say one thing to Thug right now, what would that be?
I'm sorry.
What you sorry for?
The pain, the suffering, everything I caused on him and his family, society, the courts. I'm sorry for everything. I wish I had the strength and the mindset I have now. I never forgive myself. No matter what happened, I took him through a process that I should never took him through. And even though I know I'm not the cause of it, despite how any people may feel, it's wrong. If I knew that it would have did that, I would never be so evil as I was. There's so much I can say, but I ain't gonna put all this shit on it.
On that last ex parte meeting calls for the Judge Glanfield to be replaced. A female judge.
What was he saying if he didn't do all that planning? See, I wasn't sitting down. He was getting in details, but it was like, man, I can't sit up here and just watch this stuff all day. So that's why I just come to these videos. But I guess he's saying that all them little things he was talking about. Man, that's crazy, man.
Who would go by the name of Judge Whitaker, was now the new judge for the YSL trial. But little did the world know that 3 months later, Young Thug would possibly be coming home. But not before a key witness had exposed a huge slip-up in the trial that caused talks of a possible mistrial in return. Rap artist Slime Life Shorty, also from Cleveland Ave, Atlanta, Georgia. The prosecutor asked Shorty to review social media posts to identify others involved in the case. However, Slime Life Shorty read out loud a post saying "Free Quay," unintentionally informing the jury that Credavius Nicholas, one of the defendants, was incarcerated, a fact the jury wasn't supposed to know. Check out the clip.
Hold on. So, he did what? Let's see.
And do you have a friendship or a relationship with him?
Not a strong bond, but we know each other.
And do you see him here today?
No, actually. Oh, yeah, I see him now.
And you identify him as well?
I can't see what he got on. He just got the dreads up
Okay.
in the air.
And, all right. Is he towards the back of the room, the front of the room, or
To the
somewhere else?
back.
Is he sitting in between anyone?
Yeah, I think his lawyer.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that he's identified.
It's really not. That could be a couple of different people.
There's two lawyers right there. He right there, and there's a lady next to him on the left side of him.
Your Honor, now let the record
All
reflect.
right. It'll so reflect.
Do you know someone named Shannon?
Yes.
And do you call him Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you call him anything else or just Shannon?
I think I just say Shannon.
No.
I don't know.
How long have you known Shannon?
I don't remember. I don't remember when I met him.
Is it longer than you've known Quay, the two Quays?
No.
Shorter than that?
Yeah.
And what is your relationship like, if any, with him?
Now?
Let's talk about before now.
Oh, we're cool.
Are you still cool now?
I don't know him right now. He been locked up for a couple of years. What, I ain't supposed to say that?
Disregard that.
And just listen to the question that I ask you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know someone by the name of Yak?
Yes.
How long?
I got a question.
Do you need to talk to your lawyer?
No, I'm just trying to see. I ain't supposed to say that or something.
Don't worry about it. Just move on to the next question.
All right.
How long have you known Yak?
I don't remember when I met him.
Just a week later, the trial was left with 3 defendants. And on October 31st, 2024, Halloween, Young Thug would accept a plea agreement. Young Thug accepting a 20-year sentence with 5-year commuted and 15 years on probation. Young Thug will be walking home, technically a free man, with requests of still making music with Gunna. He's not allowed to be in Atlanta unless it's a funeral, graduation of a close family.
Boy, you hear that? With a quest of working with Gunna. All them little Gunna this, Gunna that. Man, little baby was bashing his name. I think even Gunna forward told him to chill out. He don't even know what he talking about. Got the world saying about Gunna, and yo, you know what's crazy though? You know what's crazy? My bad, y'all. I'm hearing noises. What's crazy is that Gunna was still doing his thing. Ain't nothing stopped that man.
Remember, check out what Young Thug, his lawyer, and the judge had to say.
Mr. Williams can associate, and this was agreed to previously, with people who are convicted felon or alleged gang members solely for lawful purpose of making music.
I see Miss Love shaking her head, and I think it's fair to establish that until the entirety of the negotiations were agreed to, it was all up in the air.
Sure.
That may have been something y'all had already hammered out, but it wasn't. It's not anything they're bound to.
Absolutely.
Fair. Okay.
I agree with that. Mr. Williams can have no contact with any of the supposed victims, and there was an Exhibit A attached to the state's proposed plea agreement, negotiated plea agreement that was sent to you, so we adopt that Exhibit A, but we can give it to the court if you need those names. And Mr. Williams have no contact with any of the co-defendants in this indictment, with the exception of Mr. Quantavious Greer, that is his biological brother, as well as Mr. Sergio Kitchens. He's a phenomenal artist. He goes performer known as Gunna, G-U-N-N-A. Mr. Williams and Mr. Kitchens are contractually obligated, and they frequently perform music together. Your Honor, any other conditions that this honorable court deems appropriate?
Yo,
I want to thank the...
Bro, if they do a show together, that's gonna... That's gonna be a big show, bro.
For all your time, always, I want to thank Ms.
That's gonna be
Percival
a big
for everything
show.
she has done. I want to thank Mr. Williams for allowing me to stand with him. And I really never thought we would be here, but this is his decision. I want to thank the Honorable Keith Adams, who may want to speak, Your Honor, but I can never imagine a better lawyer than Keith Adams.
Mr. Adams, do you want to add anything to the record?
Your Honor, I don't know that there's really much to add. Mr. Steele has represented to the court, I think fully and thoroughly, the breadth of our knowledge of the case. Mr. Williams' background, I think the court has not just heard it from Mr. Steele, but has had the opportunity to sit here and hear some of the evidence and kind of get a feel. You've had a chance also to observe Mr. Williams and then get a feel for him, his background, and so forth. You know, the only thing I can say about Mr. Williams that hasn't been said is that he comes from an area. You might have heard throughout the course of the trial that there was an album, a concert tour. We came from nothing. And that is true. Mr. Williams came from, you know, I hate to use the word abject poverty, but that really is the case. Came from an area where there was a significant amount of crime, where, as you've heard, he's had tragedy in his life and has observed tragedy in his life. And he has gone through a good bit. He has been involved in a lot, but he has raised himself up. He has done the best he could and has done phenomenally well, and is, I think, an inspiration to a lot of people from that community who look to him and see the success that he has gained and have been fully supportive of him. But he finds himself here. He's in front of you. He is tendering this plea because he accepts responsibility. You have heard everything Mr. Steele has had to say. I can only ask that you follow what we have put before you. You also have, I believe, the paperwork that was given to you by the state, which kind of gives you some idea of what they were looking for as well in terms of conditions on Mr. Williams, if we were to have reached some sort of agreement. And we ask that if you feel that there is anything within the state's proposal that might be appropriate in terms of the sentence for Mr. Williams, that the court please feel free to do that. There is nothing that he puts himself before the court. And I think 2.5 years sitting, going through this process, challenging the process, but now standing before you and asking that you consider everything and sentence him appropriately in the way that we've requested. I'd simply ask you, I join Mr. Steele and Mr. Williams in asking you to do the same. And I thank you as well, as Mr. Steele did, for your patience with us and for bringing some order to the proceedings that candidly was needed. So that's all I have to say. I thank you again, and I ask you to consider everything that's been put before you.
All right, Mr. Williams, is there anything that you want to say?
Come on, Jeffrey.
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility for, you know, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, you know. My managers, my kids that's not here. Really everybody that got something to do with this situation, I want to say sorry for just, like, you know, having so much time investing into this, you know. And I am a smart guy. I am a good guy, and I really got a good heart, you know. I find myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, you know, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height, because it could end bad, and it don't really have to have nothing to do with you, but it could end bad, and it could, you know, fall on you. And I know the choice is yours, it's up to you, and I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in me to just do the right thing and never see you again unless it's at a, you know, bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation. I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation again. I'm going away. I've learned from my mistakes. You know, I come from nothing and I've made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry. Through these last 2.5 years of my life, you are really, truly, honestly, the best thing that has happened to me because you made everything fair for me and everybody involved on both sides.
You could tell he is. I mean, you gotta understand, bro. You don't know what this lady about to say out her mouth. You don't know what she about to be like. And when this lady came about, she was already saying, like, this case is all over the place pretty much. And, like, bro, he is meaning every word he's saying. But for people that been in this situations, they know exactly how he feel.
I'm sorry to the sheriff, you know, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry for y'all having to put this extra time in to be away from y'all family, you know, and I just hope that you find it in your heart to allow me to go home and be with my family and just do better as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I am. I know the heights I've reached. I know the impact I got on people, period, in the community, you know, all people. I learned that late, like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late. And maybe it was because I was, you know, probably on drugs or anything, I don't know. But I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world. But I am a good guy, you know, I don't mind doing stuff like, you know, like free shows, and I always did that. You know, I did free shows and gave it to single parents, millions of dollars. You know, I made $1.8 million on a free show, and I gave it all to single parent charity. And I did like 2 or 3 shows that made like $700,000 a piece, and I gave it to the breast cancer organization. Like, you know, I do things. Like, I put millions of dollars back into my community for real. I really did. I did more than anybody ever did from my side, you know. But I understand, you know, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all that, and I promise you I'm 100% changing that. You know, it's just, I'm older, I'm grown now, you know, and it's just like, I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like, I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway, I can go forever.
Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you do realize how much of an impact you have on people. I mean, it's past your neighborhood. It's worldwide, especially young people. And having come up from where you came up from and living in and around that, you know that gangs are damaging to our community. And it may be that a whole lot of rap music and the rap industry is, I mean, honestly, it sounds like a modern day version of kind of WWE wrestling that used to be on television, where people would just get up and posture and act like they hated each other. And it may be that that's a lot of what is going on in the music industry with rap. But whether it is fake or not, it has tremendous impact on kids and young people who think, this is cool, this is what I want to do. Right. Look at him, he's a millionaire.
Right.
I can do that by being, you know, a gangster in the streets.
Right.
And that's not true. What you're likely to have happen to you if you're a gangster in the streets is you get shot, you get killed, or you get thrown in prison.
Right.
And those are, you know,
right,
by far the most likely outcomes.
Right.
And,
right,
you know, you've been in here watching the trial, and you've seen the pictures of Mr. Ryan posing with a gun as big as he is at 15 years old and going out and shooting and killing another teenager. And that's what gangs do, and that's unfortunately a lot of what rap music does.
Right.
And if you are a modern day John Lennon, you know, I mean, he might have rapped too in this day and age. I don't know, but I know you're talented, and even if you choose to continue to rap, you need to try to use your influence to let kids know that that is not the way to go. And that there are ways out of poverty besides hooking up with the powerful guy at the end of the street selling drugs. And, you know, I know that happens for protection sometimes, but a much better way would be getting an education and setting, you know, hanging around with people who set a good example. And you be one of those people that sets a good example. I mean, all right, so that's my high horse on that. I could also go on. But I want you to try to be more of the solution and less of the problem. Mm-hmm. All right? All right, so it is not lost on the court that the state, had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count.
That's what's up.
Was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts, and was willing to entirely dismiss this, you know, machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today.
Let's fucking go.
And therefore does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society. I'm taking that into consideration in crafting my sentence. And in permitting a no-low plea to the RICO count and one of the two gang counts, I would not be permitting the no-low to the one if you were not pleading guilty to at least one of them. But you are, and y'all admit a factual basis for the counts that you are pleading guilty to. I find there to be a factual basis for those counts, and for the remaining counts with which you are charged, I am going to impose a sentence, and I've taken a little bit of the suggested special conditions from the defense and a little bit of the special conditions suggested by the prosecution. On count one, the court sentence is 20 years to serve 5 years, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years to be probated, and a $25,000 fine. On count two, the sentence is 5 years to serve, commuted to time served. That's the minimum sentence that's permitted on that count. It is required to be run consecutively. I'm going to run it consecutive to count one, but I am going to backload. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not commuted. That is 5 years to serve, and it's going to be run consecutively to count one, backloaded, by which I mean after you serve your 15 years of probation, if you have been successful on that probation, and I sincerely hope that you are, then at the end of that 15 years, I will commute the entire rest of any service portion of your sentence to time served. So I'll get to the end of it and give you the total sentence, but I'm also going to impose a $15,000 fine with regard to that count. Count 57, 20 years to serve 5, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years probated, concurrent with count 1. Count 58, 10 years to serve 5, commuted to time served, balance probated, concurrent with count 1. 59, 5 years to serve,
he did his thing.
commuted to time served,
That man
concurrent
did his
with count
thing,
1.
boy.
60, 5 years to serve, commuted to time served, concurrent with count 1. Count 61, 5 years to serve, that is required to be also a consecutive sentence, so that's going to be run consecutively to count 56 and backloaded. Count 62, 10 years to serve, also required to be served consecutively, that's going to be consecutive to count 61, also backloaded. So essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served.
Right.
Followed by 15 years on probation. Followed then by the backloaded 20 years, which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served. You are to remain on reporting status for the first half of your probation, active reporting for the first 7.5 years of your probation, and that is pursuant to OCGA 17-10-1, subsection 2, A2A. And Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, in order to keep him on reporting status, there needs to be good cause shown. We all concede that good cause is shown here?
Stipulate.
All right, I appreciate that. Special conditions of your probation.
What good cause? What do they mean?
Can I have a second, Your Honor?
Sure.
Let the judge. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. You had enough time to talk with your attorneys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, special conditions of your probation. After 48 hours from your release, you are to stay away from the metro Atlanta area, and that's defined by the U.S. Census Bureau. It may change, but you can look that up anytime to figure out what that is. For the first 10 years of your probation, subject to the following exceptions, you are permitted to be in the metro Atlanta area to attend any wedding, funeral, or graduation from high school, college, or graduate school of any of your immediate family members. And immediate family members is defined the same way that you all were contemplating it when you were negotiating.
Man.
You can get here up to 24 hours prior to any such event, and you need to leave within 48 hours after any such event. In addition, during each year of your probation, I'm going to require that you come to the metro Atlanta area and make a live anti-gang and anti-gun violence presentation 4 times a year, each year of your probation, at a grade school, a middle school, a boys or girls club, anything like that, that type of group. And if you want to, that presentation can include a benefit concert, and these presentations may count towards your required community service hours, which I'm going to impose. That during each year of your probation, you perform 100 hours of community service. You are, and this is required by the fact that there's a gang conviction. You shall not knowingly have contact of any kind or character with any other member or associate of any criminal street gang. Exception to that, if your brother is a member of any street gang, I hope you talk him into getting out of it. Quantavious Greer, and then also Sergio Kitchens, as long as you are contractually obligated to him. That is going to include anybody who is named in this indictment, except as absolutely necessary to conduct the lawful business of your musical career, and to any extent that the state is not agreeing to the exception for Mr. Kitchens. In the event that that part is not enforceable because it is only a portion of a special condition, going to provide that that be severable from the rest of this, and I'll put some case cites in the Senate sheet for that. You are in no way to promote any criminal street gang or any criminal street gang activity, including on any social media platform. You are not to utilize any hand signs, terminology, or language that promotes any criminal street gang. You are not to participate in any criminal street gang activity. You are not to knowingly engage in any contact with any of the victims that are listed in this indictment or with any of their family members. And you may not have in your possession or with arm's reach any kind of a firearm because you're going to be a convicted felon. And that is, except I know that you have security and you need security. You can be within arm's reach of a firearm that is in the possession of either licensed law enforcement or licensed security personnel that are in your security detail or anybody that you're performing with. You are to submit to random drug screens and not use any drugs unless they are prescribed for you by a licensed physician. You are to execute a Fourth Amendment waiver that will permit the search of your person, residence, vehicles, and electronics for any firearms, any criminal street gang paraphernalia, or any illicit drugs. And as I mentioned, with regard to one of the first of your co-defendants from this trial, at least since I've been involved, to plead guilty, our Uniform Superior Court rules instruct and provide that it is absolutely proper for a judge to grant leniency in sentencing when, quote, the interests of the public and the effective administration of criminal justice are served, unquote. And I think that this plea is in the interest of the public and in the interest of effective administration of justice. Have been trying to ensure that to the extent I can, this trial also abides by that. It's been challenging at certain times. I find your plea to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences, and I accept it as such. I also need to inform you that your attorneys were going to represent you through either the last day of this term of court or 30 days from now, whichever is later, and any of the filings that were mentioned that need to be filed within that time, they would file on your behalf unless they are permitted to withdraw from representing you before that time. I am not going to impose the conditions suggested by your counsel about the benefit concerts and the donations to the sheriff's office, but I certainly strongly encourage you to do those things and to do and continue to do things that benefit your community and especially help young people to stay out of criminal trouble. And unless there is anything from counsel other than that.
I have one matter, Your Honor.
Okay. And does the state as well?
Yeah.
Your Honor, with regards to Mr. Williams being permitted to come to the Metro Atlanta area or Cleveland Avenue area for funeral or the other items,
right?
Can you also consider, God forbid, there's a serious medical condition of a person that
in
is
his immediate family,
yeah.
certainly we can add that. And I also meant to mention, because I know you do travel all over in order to pursue your career, that it's permissible for your probation to be transferred to out of state, and that has to be done through probation, but that is fine with the court. And you may also keep your, nobody's mentioned it, but keep your passport and travel out of state and internationally to the extent that you need to do that for business purposes as well.
But a lot of places out of state is not going to allow, out of United States not going to allow. Man, we going to done with this video, boy. Damn, this is almost an hour video. But, damn. Golly. He got nice probation though. He can travel and all that. He got a decent probation thing, man. You gotta do 100 hours every year, talking to the youth or whatever. Not even just the youth, just whatever. But like, oh man. But hey man, he home. We ain't gotta worry about none of that extra stuff. And he all good.